professionals that we keep in mind what it is we're trying to accomplish and what it is we're supporting. I used to help run an enterprise, and we had really good security guys, God bless them, but they had the hardest time understanding where the limit between secure enough and ridiculously secure was. You know, if the organization has a business need to deploy a product, you don't need to make it the best possible product in the world so that any academic in the room or the place couldn't come and attack it. No, you just have to make it good enough that any potential losses are still within bounds for the company to accept, right? Security isn't absolute. We all know that. Duh. Security in your enterprise also is not absolute. Accept it. Okay? Security with any other particular technology like Bluetooth, not absolute. Let's accept it and move on. So, why is there so little interest in Bluetooth security? Rob Lemos asked me this last night, and I kind of stumbled through an answer which I've now tried to capture in PowerPoint form because it makes more sense when you can put it in bullet points. Honestly, I don't think we've solved the discovery problem yet, okay? If you look at what happened at DEF CON 9, Pete Shipley got on stage, God bless Pete Shipley. How many people saw the DC-9 war driving talk? Oh, wow, that's a very small number of hands. Whew. So Pete Shipley, anyone have a word to describe this man? Unique, was that what I heard? Yes, let's go with unique individual. He, kilt-wearing raver from San Francisco, gets up on stage and talks about war driving. You know, he's written some scripts, he's built some stuff, he's up on top of this building looking like an animal, aiming this antenna down on San Francisco and showing, here's where all these access points are in San Francisco. And like, people loved and hate Pete and they're throwing stuff at him and whatever, but God bless it, that wasn't a big tipping point in what we did with Wi-Fi security. Because he got up there and he told a whole bunch of people, here's how to do it. You go buy this gear, you use this software, you write some scripts, bam, you can find all this stuff. Well, you know, where I work, we have a 4-box description of penetration testing. You know, and the first one is planning, the second one is discovery, and the third is go off and break the thing, and the fourth is reporting. There's feedback loops in there, right? Not rocket science. If you can't get past the second box of discovery, you can't attack it, okay? Simple, this is basic logic, 4 steps, right? Pete helped us get past step 2, you know, he got us onto step 3. So geeks with disposable income could then take $300 and go buy some stuff and find devices and then figure out ways to break them, all right? So that's pretty cool and all. 300 bucks, a lot of geeks have $300 of disposable income. Not millions of them, but enough to make a difference. Now we could do, you know, war drive for free. You buy a laptop, it's got integrated Wi-Fi, you open it up, download some code, hit a button, and it works. Well, we haven't hit that point with Bluetooth yet. We haven't gotten past step 2. We can't discover the devices that don't want to be found. All we can do is find the devices that want to be found, and while that's interesting and fun, there's not the same voyeuristic appeal that we had with Wi-Fi. You don't feel like you're spying on your neighbors. You just feel like, you know, I'm spying on people that want to be spied on. It's no fun if I know you're watching. So 10K is a lot of disposable money to kick around. And I'm not saying some geeks don't have $10,000 of disposable income. Not many do. And without finding a device, you can't attack it. Ergo, it's not sexy. And if it's not sexy, the open source altruistic community doesn't go looking for it very often. Next. Here's a breakdown of the current attacks and vulnerabilities. Let's see. Poor defaults. You're going to see more and more slides later, so you don't have to get too jittery about writing these down. There's link level vulnerabilities, location tracking, human interface issues, poor implementation. These are really, I think, the high level breakdowns of what we see today in the field, where the tools are geared toward where the research is going on. Note, there's only really one thing here that's dealing with actually looking for vulnerabilities in the core protocol. The rest are other things, touchy-feely things, implementation problems, etc. So, stupid defaults. Let's talk about the first class of problem. Hard configured pins. There are devices out there that promiscuously just want to pair with things, and they have pins that you can't change. Trifinet.org's Car Whisperer program, which got Audi to force Trifinet to change their logo because I thought they were mocking Audi, because they were showing how they were owning an Audi from distance with an antenna. Pretty funny. Basically, they could try to connect to it. The car had a hard set pin, like 1, 2, 3, 4 or some nonsense, promiscuously looking for things to pair with. It would pair, and then you could just talk to people in the car as they were driving by down the road. It's a little disconcerting for the people in the car. This is God, you've been touching yourself again. All right, so enough people have seen Real Science or Real Genius. I'm sorry, I always get Weird Science and Real Genius confused. I'm very disappointed when I go watch Weird Science and I meant to watch Real Genius. So again, the pin's only used at pairing time though. So if we have pins you can't guess and you don't have things that promiscuously want to pair with things, you do a lot better. Some things don't have any authentication on purpose, some on accident. No authentication on purpose is the poor default arena. Like automatically accepting V cards, some things will just basically suck up V cards. They assume, oh, only legitimate people who send well-structured V cards would send V cards to me. Deer in the headlight, gets run over by the truck. You know, it's a little sketchy to have that, you know. There's very few pieces of electronic data I want sent to any device unauthenticated, you know, period. Like, it's not cool, man. Like, JPEGs can own your system, so why would I, like, accept complex structured data like a V card? Give me a break. Profiles get turned on by default. This is not rocket science. This is like running extra services. If you don't need it, don't run it. Well, it's a problem if you don't have the ability to turn it off, okay? We're gonna do a quick little demo here, in theory. In theory, communism works. Simpsons fans in the room? One, all right, good. This is iStumbler, a Bluetooth war driving thingamabob for Macs, which apparently is not finding anything at the moment. That's not good. Ooh. So, all right, what I'm gonna do is browse the previous device. So this is my cell phone here, it's a nice Apple. Somebody was scanning me while I was in a bar in England a few months ago, and they had an Apple. So I changed the name of my phone to Nice Apple, and the guy stopped scanning me. The only reason I could tell is because I was looking at my phone at the time and I saw the little blinky lights going back and forth. Now that's a user interface decision, right? To say, hey, you're being scanned repetitively, blink, 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 doesn't even vibrate, right? This is all the things my phone advertises by default, okay? Now, whether or not you need authentication to get to them, that's a whole different animal. But these are the things on, this is a Sony Ericsson W600, I think, phone. It's got the little flippy bit, woo, flippy bit. And by default, it has dial-up networking, serial port, voice gateway, OBEX stuffs, a NAP service, and oh, it's a mouse and a keyboard. No, seriously, it's a mouse and a keyboard. I can use this to control PowerPoint presentations, move the mouse around on my screen, type stuff out in T9. Try typing an SSH session in T9 sometime. A lot of fun, a lot of fun. There's no way for me to turn that off. You know, that's just the way the thing is. That's not cool. So, real quick, I want to see if I can restart this thing and actually get it to scan, because it will be fairly amusing if I could find the people that are scanning me. And then, oh, and for the non-Mac users, whoo, look, oh, my desktop got all mangled. That wasn't nearly as pretty. We could still do the little sound effect, woo, sound effect, woo. Woo, there it was. Hi there, guy. Desktop. Name, date modified. No. You can see everything. Porn, porn, porn. iStumbler 2. There. Bluetooth. Oops. Hack, hack, hack. Add to contacts? No. Someone just tried to send me something. All right, it's really pissed off. Man, and I was really hoping to make a point with this. What I want to do is scan everybody. Oh, there we go, phone. Let's put my Mac up here. Don't throw anything at me. Here's a phone. Let's see whose phone this is. We'll browse it. Ooh, didn't come up. This is the greatest demo ever. Ever. You are owned. That was another one during a Bluetooth talk I was giving. Somebody changed their thing to you are owned. Wow. All right, how many people, okay, let's just step back a second. Phone, 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 oh, that's me. How many people in the first 4 or 5 rows here have a Bluetooth-enabled device? How many people have their phone in discoverable mode, their device in discoverable mode? 2, 3, 4. For a few seconds, right. Just for me, aw. Someone's actually managed to change their MAC address to 2222222. Good job. Hey, bonus points for that, guys. I'm waiting for the dead beef one to show up. So, I mean, the moral of the story is here, we've got 6 devices show up in discoverable mode. You know, I'm probably hitting a 30 or 40 foot radius here. and we had 20 or 30 devices not in discoverable mode. If I'm an attacker, I can only go after these 6 or 7 devices. I can't go after everything else. Okay, not rocket science, okay? That's as good as it gets without me laying down $10,000 to try to do something more advanced, okay? That's as good as it gets. I encourage you, if you take one takeaway out of this thing, takeaway, that's a consulting term, you should go tell your friends when they ask about Bluetooth security, say, set your device in non-discoverable mode, good enough. Unless your name is George W. Bush, nothing to worry about. Well, except I'm not going to make political statements in front of the audience. That would be bad. More stupid defaults. Each profile is like an application. Each application itself can have bad defaults. Duh. I had a Belkin CF adapter that had file sharing turned on by default, world writable by default, and the root of the thing by default was the root to the file system. By default. I haven't said by default enough. That's ridiculous. I don't care what the developer is, who it is. That is unacceptable. But again, every application running on every device, all those things that were shared out of this phone could have something bad in them. Every single one of them. However, on the flip side, it's only a handful of phones. Sony only made so many of these. And I don't know how many people saw FX's talk yesterday on the BlackBerry stuff. FX made the point, just in the BlackBerry lineage alone, like every device is different, Some devices have the BlackBerry proprietary OS. Some devices have a third-party operating system. Some of them have different protocol stacks. Some of them have different applications. Some of them have Java. Some of them don't. Holy cow, that's just RIM stuff, and they run a good shop, And you talk about Nokias, and you talk about Sonys, and you talk about Apples and Windows and all this crap. There's so much variance. This is the whole Mike Lin thing from last year when Mike makes a statement of, hey, the reason I'm releasing the Cisco stuff right now is because up until this point, if you wanted to write a worm for routers, you had to write a specific worm for every damn router. And then you had to build this giant list of payloads that went trouncing around with your exploit. And so as the router with 16 megs of memory gets owned, and then the half a gig of exploit material comes in behind it to propagate, the router will explode. Actually, I worked at an ISP, and we were upgrading equipment. It was in Alaska. And we were in Anchorage, and we were doing a system upgrade for some routers that are actually terminal servers up in Fairbanks. Note, 360 miles of nothing between point A and point B. Don't want to have to go there unless you have to in February. And one of the guys inadvertently we changed the routing protocol so that instead of getting just a handful of routes from the enterprise, the thing suddenly got like every route on the internet. And this little term server with like 4 megs of memory was actually physically damaged. It wouldn't boot anymore. Like it wouldn't even turn on. Like the route table ran through NVRAM, ran through all the EEPROM, and like went to the power supply. Poof! Internet blew up my term server. It was fantastic. God, I'm not even sure where the hell I was going with that. It's a good story though. I mean, you gotta help me. What? It was a what? A ruse? A moose, yes, a moose stomped on top of it. Also note, don't screw with mooses. If you're a GI and you get stationed up in Alaska, one of the first things they show you is like a don't screw with moose video, and it's like, moose stomping on GIs. Like, here's a GI that tried to put a bumper sticker of the local radio station on the ass end of this moose. Stomp, 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 stomp. Poor little guy from South Carolina comes out like a pancake. Yeah, so don't screw with mooses. Don't put all the internet's routing table into a Livingston Portmaster. So discoverable by default, blah, blah. We've been down there. Oh, discoverable mode also sucks down battery faster. So if you're battery conscious, you can leave it off too. That's a great non-security thing. People think that you're paranoid because you're a security person. So no, I care about the environment. It's the environment, okay? It's really expensive to drive cars these days, so make sure you set your phone in non-discoverable mode. And let them think about that for a minute as you